Happy New Year. Welcome to or welcome back to Book and Prejudice. My name is Mar, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 books of the year, which was arguably really freaking hard because I read a lot of really good books this year. So bear with if this ends up being more than top 10, but I will do my best to stick to my little notebook. Anyways, grab your drink of choice. I have a coffee, which is a bad idea because it's like 6 p.m. already. Oops. And it has a little sticker that says, Mr. Hood says fantastic. Mr. Hood is my husband, for those who don't know. So let's get going with the video, shall we? Alright, got my notebook. Got my books. I cannot see them. They're in the blue table that you can never see. I hope you believe that there's a blue table here. And the first book that I have in the pile, this is not in order. I will only say my top one because I could not do that. I all like them equally except the first one. Like the last one that I said, that's my favorite child. The rest, I love the same. You all see me. Okay, pick it up. The first book I have is The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. This is from the series. How is this series called? Alright, I don't remember how this series is called. I'm gonna call her the series, the Her Majesty Royal Coven series. This is the second one. This book is the second one to this book that's bright pink. And I love the bright pink book so much that it caused a problem in my household because my husband got it for me and then I had to wait like a year and a half to get this one, and I did not love that. But then, not only did I get it, I went to like a presentation by the author, got to meet Juno Dawson. I arrived like 2 minutes before it started and I was the last one to get in. So I saw her and I just looked at her and I was like, oh my god, hi. And she's like, hi, are you going in? I'm like, yes. And my husband is in the back just looking completely unimpressed by my lack of fullness, togetherness. And I was like, I love you so much. I love your shoes. Bye. Bolted. I hope she doesn't remember that. That's my hope. But I also got it signed. And it's really cool because they put like a post-it with your name. And then tomorrow. I will not show the dedication because it is a massive spoiler of book one. And it also confirms what you think happened in book one. Anyways, this one follows Kiara, as well as a group of friends as they try to figure out what the heck is happening. Like, is Hale, the bad guy, really bad? Or is she the real bad guy? Like, there's a lot of things happening. Kiara wakes up from the coma that she's been for all of these years without memories, without anything. This is, oh, by the way, massive spoilers. Just everywhere. I can hear something moving in my walls. Greg has to do some construction, so bear with. Anyways, really good. I cannot say anything else. Very good. I love this book series. I cannot wait for the next one to come out. I'm gonna try and get them all signed. And I think that Juno Dawson also just so good at words. Just good at using them. I asked a really good question. My question when I asked, because it's something I generally noticed, was how come you chose to have the main character have all of these YA-esque adventures but be middle-aged women, like in their 40s, which for me wasn't a problem, but it did draw my attention because a massive theme throughout fantasy is that they're all young 16 to 25 year olds, which I personally hate because when I was 12 I thought I was like gonna be the coolest 16-year-old. I was like, oh my god, when I'm 16 I'm also going to like save the world on a daily basis. Then I turned 18. I was like, I still have not saved anything from anything. I'm now 25. I'm like, oh wow, these children, why are you doing this? Listen to your mother. Like, why are you picking up a sword? I am confuzzled. So now with this book I'm like, okay, I still have until 40 to make dumb mistakes to save the world, which does wonders for my self-esteem. Anyways, love this book. I think I liked it more than the other one. A lot bigger. I think this one's almost twice as big, but she's just so good at words. So good. The next one I have is Diary of a Tuscan Bookshop by Alba Donati. This is a book that I didn't realize that it was like an autobiography until I was like 3/4 of the book done, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm pretty sure Alba Donati is a main character in this book. And I loved it. It kind of champions that slow living movement of which I do my best to join, although not always successfully. But I really liked it, and I love books that talk about books. Speaking of which, Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa also made it to the list. These two books, I read them not back to back, but within a couple months, and I love them. I love this book so much I got the sequel in Spanish. But I can only sing praises for these books. Books about books, books that show the reader how passionate the author is about books are my favorite genre. Because everyone knows that authors are passionate about written word and like literature and yada yada yada, but like these two books feel like an ode to books. Like it's like a node to libraries, to people that enjoy reading. So I felt like these books were written specifically for me. Is that true? I don't know. You can tell me later. But I felt like that. So we kept them. I loved them. They made me so happy. They were also quite short, so I could read them quite quickly. Let's talk about books that I don't have. Let's talk about, that's why I have my little list. Let's talk about nonfiction. I don't love reading nonfiction, but I love Cultish by Amanda Montell, popping somewhere around here. This is a book about cults and how to get you. Basically, the language that cults use to catch you in, a deep dive into some types of cults, so like some classic cults that you know, some more nuanced cults like the yoga club. There was like a random yoga club in California that like Halle Berry really was into, that turned out to be a cult. Halle Berry is not in a cult, I would like to point out, but other people were in the cult. And I thought it was fascinating. A big theme for me this year was words. Like, books have words. Language, obviously, is composed of words. That, top notch right there, guys. So I really enjoyed the fact that I could learn a bit more about how they use the words to make sure that they get you. And I also realized that I might end up in a cult one day by mistake. I don't think this one's gonna catch anyone by surprise, this next book. It's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Listen, this is not my favorite of this series. My favorite one is Iron Flame, but I didn't want to put Iron Flame in this one because I cannot handle the non-spoiling bit. So I just write Fourth Wing because it showed me Iron Flame. But no, I just think that almost everyone that I know that's read these books have loved them. And I think it's such a cool, it's essentially, it's what I say, I think I've said it before. It's been a long time since I've just sat on my couch and just not wanted to get up for the whole week and considered seriously like just calling in sick at work. I didn't do it. Because they were just so good. So Fourth Wing and its sequel Iron Flame have been those books for me. Because I love them. I love them so much. I almost didn't read them either, which was hilarious to me. Because I'm not a dragon girly. I'm like a magic person, but not a dragon person. Like, I don't love creatures being involved in books. Like, having like a role. And also, the way it was described to me, the dragons were like human, like, it was so weird. Like, not at all how this book was. Like, the dragons were not as cool as it were. So I almost didn't pick it up, but then I did, and I'm very happy I did because I really like it so much. Needless to say, that was a 5 stars. Let me get another book for you guys. Oh, okay, this one. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Listen, this is the year that Mar personally helped R.F. Kuang with a cost of living crisis. That was my job. Like, that's all I did. Because I read almost everything that this woman has written. Yellowface is I believe her first non-fantasy fiction book. And it follows, what's her name? It follows June Hayward, who, after Athena dies, decides to steal her manuscript and then publish it, overlooking completely the fact that Athena had written a book for the Asian population because she's Asian, and June Hayward is as white as I am. And then she's like, nobody will notice. Well, you tell me, June Hayward, did they notice? Yes, they did. FYI, it's the full thing of the story that they noticed. I love this because obviously this is written from the perspective of someone that you just know that at no point have they felt bad about their actions. Like, no, throughout the whole book she's like, oh, the world's out to get me, and at no point she's like, I did kind of steal this from my friend. I am fully culturally appropriating. That doesn't even cross her mind. She's just like, I am allowed to do this because I worked really hard and like I tried to educate myself, which FYI, not really. She went on the Wikipedia page. But sure, you did try to learn a little bit about what you had stolen. But at no point does she acknowledge that she stole it. Does she acknowledge that what she did was wrong? Does she acknowledge that maybe she wasn't it wasn't her place to write a story that literally has nothing to do with her history or her family's or her ancestors or anyone? Nothing. Like, different parts of the world kind of thing. So I hated June. I would like to point out I hated her, but I found her fascinating. I was like, wow, you really are borderline psychotic. And I love that. I really love that for her. Obviously, R.F. Kuang was trying to accomplish something very specific here, which is showing the lack of remorse that some people have when it comes to literature and appropriation. And she did that really well. Like, this book, it's short, it's fun. I think I read it in 2 days. Could not recommend it anymore, honest to God. My book fell. So I don't know what comes next. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I'll do my next one. Is True Biz by Sarah Novick. True Biz was amazing, and it kind of also, similarly to what I just said about Yellowface, kind of applies to the author, but not the same way. So it narrates the story of 3 characters: a kid that's deaf, but her parents are hearing; a kid that's deaf and comes from a prominent deaf family, like, you know, like her mother was deaf and her father was deaf, and then they married, and then suddenly, you know, life happens. And a teacher, a principal, who is not deaf, was raised by a deaf mother though, and is the principal of the deaf school. Now keep in mind, please, as I said, the author is not deaf herself, but I think that she did say, like, I would listen to the audiobook, and she does say, like, in the beginning that she's had a lot of communication. This has been written, like, joined with other people. So I found that quite interesting. I also find it quite respectful. I read it for my book club, and everyone was in agreement that, like, you know, we have people there that are deaf, we have people there that are hearing, and everyone was in agreement that it was just a really good story. Like, the story itself is very interesting. It kind of touches on the topics of, which I found very fascinating, consent. When you're a child, you do not really get to consent to put your cochlear implants, and you have to get those on when you are very young, and they're very painful, and they're very hard, and they're very complicated, and they can have a lot of health, like, complications as well across your whole life, and you don't get to consent because they get put when you're almost basically newborn, before you're a toddler. And how these cochlear implants are put in the majority by hearing parents who do not want to perhaps make the effort of teaching their kids sign language or learning themselves sign language, so that they can be part of the more, I don't want to say normal, like the more typical, I guess, I don't know, like, so they don't have to make the effort as parents to help their kids listen, essentially. Which I found both fascinating and horrifying. But the whole book is just touches on topics that I'm not personally familiar with. I'm hearing, I don't pay attention, but I can hear. And so I have never thought about the fact that cochlear implants can actually electrocute your brain and kill you. Did not even cross my mind. I didn't know that you had to be a child to put them on, because it requires a certain surgery, and that as adults you don't really have as much opportunity. I also have never thought of how complicated the world must be, because personally I don't speak sign language. So if a person came to me and they couldn't hear, and I had to communicate with them, I'd have to write things down. Like, I don't speak, like, it's not common, it's not normal. So, and I think that it was a very beautiful critic to society saying, hey, you're excluding a big population of people that don't have something, and you're not making life easy for them. And it also shows how hard it is to be a teenager with all of the emotions that being a teenager has, with the added complexity of the fact that you cannot hear. And overall, like, listen, the main character, the girlie, okay, the first one that I mentioned, she makes so many mistakes. I was like, but they're all teenage mistakes, and I really loved the fact that they were teenage mistakes, heightened by the fact that they were, like, at some point literally feels like it's going against her. So I just thought that that was impressive, incredible. I really enjoyed it. Definitely would recommend True Biz. Honestly, I think it was a beautiful book. Next, I have more R.F. Kuang. The Puppy War by R.F. Kuang, the first one of a series that I have not bought the other two, but I'm planning on getting them ASAP. I love this book. I still have in here, if I'm not mistaken. Ah, there it is. A very faded dedication that my friend got me, because my friend Celia bought this for me and got this for me. I really like this. I'm gonna be very honest. I read this on fourth wing, super close. So at one point I was like, wait, was this in fourth wing or was this in Puppy War? I could not remember. I believe it was in Puppy War, this scene I'm thinking about. Sorry, I blanked out there for a sec. But I love this. I did not give this a 5-star. I gave this a 4-star because I thought the ending was a bit annoying. But I think I'm gonna reread this and then read the other two. Like, I'm just gonna do like a month of just reading the Puppy Wars because I'm really excited about it, but I want to refresh it in my mind. But yes, I just really enjoyed it. I like a war setting, and I like when I like a war setting, and I also like when you can see the actual effects of war, not like the fancy schmancy glorified. Because I feel like, especially with Fourth Wing, sometimes the war is a little bit on the glorified side, okay? Like, it showcases war in like a Disney princess way at some stages. This book did not. This book did not. That's all I can say about it. But I think that it's very gory and it's very gory. Sorry, my phone's dying. And it's also very graphic at times. There were things in this that I was just, I don't know. I studied them, so when I started reading them, I could pinpoint exactly when in history this took place. If you didn't read this and you found out through this book that this happened in humanity, like in real world, not in fiction land, you would be absolutely horrified because it's horrifying. So I would tread carefully with this book because it can be extremely, extremely triggering. The next book is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I love this book so much. It's so nice, it's so cozy. This book is the complete opposite of almost everything that I've read, talked about today. Greg? You okay? What are you doing? Alright, well, bye. As I was saying, absolute cozy of a book. I love this book so much. I love the mushrooms. I love Emily Wilde. I love like the relationship with her academic rival and how it goes. What's her name? It's Wendell Bumblebee. Listen, I made it up. In my mind it was like Wendell B. Because Bumblebee, it's not like something that anyone with my brain can say. So I didn't. But I love this. Actually, oh, I don't want to get ahead of myself because this is going to be another video, but the next one is coming out on the 18th. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot start. I want to do a video talking about all the books that I want to read in 2024. And I cannot do it because I've pre-ordered so many books. So I'm just kind of waiting. Like one just got dispatched as I was recording this video. It's the Atlas Complex, FYI, spoiler. But yes, I love this. If you just want a low stakes, cutesy patootie book about Faye, read this. It's adorable. I loved it. Oh, you know which book I didn't add? I should have totally added. I'm gonna add it. It's A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I read that. I think that was the last book that I read this year. Oh, it was fantastic. It was so good. Listen, I was so sad for the main character, whose name I cannot remember because you know me and my names. She was so nice. I loved her. And I loved the guy even more. Not the bad guy, the good guy, the good guy. I love the good guy. The bad guy, I was like, the evil person in this book, I was like, creepy. It essentially talks about this character, this woman, who is the only woman at the architecture college. And there she's had some pretty freaking traumatic things happen to her, okay? I was horrified for her, essentially. So she's the only female here. And she wanted to actually join the literature college, but women are not allowed there because, God forbid, we know how to read. I don't know how to read because I'm a woman. So she goes to the architecture college, which is the second most prestigious one, and she's the only girl there. And she's like, this is unbearable. I genuinely hate everyone. I'm gonna, you know, set this place on fire. So I'm just gonna join this competition so that I can have the son of my favorite author rebuild his estate. And when he goes there, he notices that there's another student who's also working on the legacy of this late author, and together they find the secrets of the mansion, and you know, they find out more about the main character, and they found out more about the main character's son, which is, he's horrendous. He gave me the creeps from I called it from day one. I was like, creep. He was too nice. Also, he was really weird, and like whenever they describe someone as staring at you for like more than 5 pages, like every time he was like intense stare. Creepy. So personally, I love The Study in Drowning so much. I got it from my library, so I cannot show it to you guys because I had to return it ASAP. I was actually a day late because I was out of the country. Oops. But I loved it so much. It's such a good book. I cannot recommend it more, honestly. And now, without further, hi, I'm editing this video, and I just noticed I didn't talk at all about one of the books that I wanted to talk. So I'm just gonna pop in here and just very quickly do that. So you're in my office, which is not the most glamorous space, but it is more the most used space. I don't know how to make y'all stand. 1 second, I'm gonna figure this out. Un momento. Okay, so the book that I did not talk about is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent or something like that. I'll put it somewhere in here as always. I love this book so much. I love that series. I would not know if Fourth Wing or the Crowns of Nyaxia series is one that I'm more excited about. I had that really grippy feeling that I hadn't gotten since Throne of Glass with both of them though. And I really want to talk about it because I feel like both Fourth Wing and Serpents and the Crowns of Nyaxia both popped off at the same time. I read them at the same time more or less. And obviously the boom that Fourth Wing has gotten is a lot bigger than the one that Crowns of Nyaxia has. But I personally believe that they should be at the same level. Because, listen, okay, Fourth Wing is fantastic, but the stakes and the way Crowns of Nyaxia is set up is insane. So for the first 2 books, you follow a couple of people. Then I read both of them. Then I read Six Scorched Roses, which is like a little novella, which I thought was so pretty. And then there's more books that are coming back. There's gonna be like 8 books or something like that. So I think that The Serpents and the Wings of Night is certainly a book that I haven't seen as many people rave about. Perhaps it's just been me. I haven't been on the booktube for a little while. But I highly think it was great. I loved the story. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was so cute. I thought it was so nice. I really liked it. Oh, and I also didn't talk about my reading goals. I'll talk about that in a different video. Yeah, let's not be here in the office for long. This is not the most pretty background in the world. Like, this is an office. It's not very nice. But I just wanted to briefly pop in because it was on my list, but I did not see it apparently. I really wanted to say 100% recommend that book. I think that series is gonna be amazing. Vampires? It had been a long time since I went through like a big vampire phase when I was like 14. So I read Twilight, but I read all of like this like lesser known compared to Twilight. They were still really freaking popular books about vampires. And then I completely forgot that they existed for like the longest time. And then this book came out and I was like, oh, vampires. So I really like that. And I just wanted to quickly say, Serpents in the Wings of Night, 5 across the board, 10 across the board. Highly recommend reading it. That's all. Alright, let's go back to the actual video for my first most favorite book of 2023, I guess. Further ado, drumroll please. My favorite book of the year was yet another Art of Kwang book. Babel! I love Babel! Everyone knows that I love Babel. Like, I'm not shy about loving Babel. I think this is probably the best book that I've read in the 2020s. How about that? Yeah, actually, I think that's really accurate. Yeah, I'd say this is my favorite book that I've read in the 2020s, for sure. This book tells you the story of Robin, a Chinese kid that gets taken by some random man, essentially, into the UK, to go study at Oxford the art of translation. The magic system, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really get it yet. Like, I've had time to simmer on it, and I just get more and more and more confused because they have to translate 2 words that mean the exact same thing in silver. And then that silver is magical. So I'm not very steady on the magic system, but on the rest of the book I love it. I just love Babel so much. The absolute horrors and terrifying situations that Robin's put in throughout the whole book are horrendous. And I, silly me, thought, holy crap-a-roni, we're getting a series. No, we're not. Like, I cannot, without spoiling the ending, you cannot continue this book. You cannot. But I love this book so much. This book reminded me of why I love knowing languages. I'm very lucky to know that a few languages, and I always tell my husband, I'm always like, I just don't even know anymore if I'm thinking, because I don't know what language I'm thinking. I don't know how to say words. I don't know what the correct word in the correct setting is a lot of times either. I don't know why. So and I felt like this book just really represented a part of my brain that most people just don't even listen to, much less pay attention to, much less care for. So I really loved this book. And then you add to it magic, which we don't understand very well, and like a proper amount of stress. And it was just, reading this book made me so happy and so anxious, and so it made me feel all of these emotions that by the end of it, I don't cry often, okay? I'm not a big crier. I sobbed. I couldn't stop sobbing. Just couldn't. Massive tears were coming out of my face. So I would 100% recommend reading this one. If you should read all of the books I've spoken about. But if you're not, you should read this one, because I loved it. And I love Art of Kwang. And I low-key really want her to never stop writing. Also, her life. I don't know if you know about Art of Kwang. Let me tell you about this. Is a Marshall Scholar, Chinese English translator, and an outstanding award-winning and the Hugo Nebula, Locus, and World Fantasy Award nominated author of the Poppy Wars trilogy and Babel. Her work has won the Crawford Award and the Compton Crook Award for the best first novel. She has an MPhil, a Master's in Philosophy in Chinese Studies from Cambridge, and an MSc in Contemporary Chinese Studies from Oxford. She is now pursuing a PhD in East Asian Languages and Literature in Yale. She has the life I want. But I'm very happy for her. I low-key wish she would start like a YouTube channel and like do daily vlogs. She also, like, I don't know, if you've ever had this, that you've seen Legally Blonde, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna become a lawyer. I had the exact same thing with, oh my god, I'm gonna become a philologist while reading this. Am I? No. I don't know. I work in real estate, guys. But I was like, I could do it. What? Like, it's hard? Babel, man. It gave me, oh, I'm so passionate about that book. If you haven't read it, read it. If you have read it, read it again. And then call me and tell me how it's going. But those are the books that I'm going to talk about today. I have nothing else to talk about besides just read them. They're so good. And I'm very biased, but I think I'm right. Not gonna lie. I hope you guys liked this video. I don't know if this video makes sense. I hope it did. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe and all that jazz. And as always, I am trying to be more active on my Instagram, but I'm not succeeding. But just go follow me. I don't know if you'll enjoy it, but go follow me. It doesn't take much. Just press the subscribe button and the follow button. I don't know which one has Instagram. Just come and follow me. I'm great. I think I'm great. I post nothing. But I'll see you guys very soon. Hopefully next week, because I already know what I want to do next week. So I'll see you guys then. Bye. Oi.